all and welcome to the session of Ionic. In today's session, we will see how do we work with tabs navigation and create a simple app for museum. To start off with, first we need to go to the folder where do we want to create the project. Once we are into this folder, we will type the first command, that is Ionic start. Once I click on Ionic start, it will ask me to create app creation wizard. We will say no. Then it will ask for framework. We are going to work with Angular framework. So we are going to select Angular. Then it will ask us to put up the name of the project. So we are going to put up the name. So I've worked with Museum 1. Once I click on the project name, it will automatically start creating the folder in Museum, and then finally create all the dependencies and the project is created. This takes few minutes because tabs have multiple tabs into the application, so it will take little time. That is why I already have worked with it, and that's what I'm showing you step-by-step instructions. So once it gets installed, it will give me a message that go to your project and then finally run your application. So when I run my application of museum, you will see that you will have three different tabs, tab 1, tab 2 and tab 3 created. Now when I work with Ionic Serve, as we know, it works on local host and it runs on port number 8100. If suppose that port is occupied, like in my case, I already have it running. So the next application is running on port number 8101. Similarly, if suppose this port is also filled up with a different application, then it will take up the next port, that is 8102. So once I do my Ionic Serve, I will get an application. Now this is how the application we are going to make. When I run my Ionic Serve for the first time, I will get only three tabs, tab 1, tab 2 and tab 3 with the names as tab 1, tab 2 and tab 3, which you will see it. Now that I'm going to change that into homes, paintings, location and feedback. Now how will I do that? Let me tell you the structure first. How does your your application structure looks like? So we are going to work with apps. In that app, we are going to work with different kinds of options. So I will show you the basic structure first. So when I work with my tabs, I by default have tab 1, tab 2 and tab 3 and I then have tabs folder. Tabs folder is the one which manages all the other tabs. So which tab to call on the click of a button is decided from this tabs over here. So by default I have three tabs. I want to create one more tab called as feedback tab and then finally try to link that feedback tab also as the fourth tab. Now before going to start off with the application, first I will see where I can make changes in my tabs folder. So when I go in my tabs folder and I go to tabs.page.html, you will see that by default I will have the name given as iron label will be tab 1, tab 2, tab 3. So iron label I will change it to home, paintings and location because I'm going to make it the app for museum. Now I will change the icons also. Now how do I know which icon should I select? Now for knowing about selection of icons, I can go to Ionic icons. Ionic icons already have by default open source icons which can be used by anyone. So you can select from here whichever icon you want. Now how to select the icon? So suppose if I want for home, I will type your home. I will click on this home icon over here and then I will get the shortcut over here. So I can just copy it from here and then finally paste it in my iron icons. So I can just copy paste it over here. So you can see my name is given as home. It's iron icon. So this whole thing has been copy pasted by me from this particular website. So similarly, other also icons can be changed it accordingly. So you will get lots of icons over here. And then yeah, I have added one more tab called as feedback. So the name I've given as feedback, which by which I will create the page also with the same name. Now if you see that every iron tab button has tab name given. This tab name and the tab name given over here should be same. So it's tab 1 over, that means when I click on my button, this particular button will link to my tab 1. This is given as tab 2, so this has to be linked to tab 2. Now I have created feedback. So this feedback will be linked with a new page created by me called as feedback. How do I create a page? So for creating a page, I have to go to my CMD. You can create a new CMD. In that new CMD, you have to go into the folder of the project. So my folder project name is Museum 1. So I will go inside that. And then I will work with the command Ionic generate page feedback. Whatever name you have to give, make sure this name and then the iron button name has to be same. So I'm given here as Ionic generate page feedback. So now when I do this and I run it, I will get your feedback folder. Feedback is nothing but it's a page, so it will have similar content as your tabs. But I have created page feedback, but this is not linked with my tabs. Now how should I link this with my tabs? So for linking with my tabs, I will go to first my app routing module. So I will go to app routing.module.ts. In this, I will copy paste this content because this is the path for my feedback, which I have to link it to my tabs. So I will copy paste this much. I will just copy it from here. I will say copy, and then I will go to feedback routing. No, not to feedback. I will go to tabs routing module, because tab is the one where we are actually going to work with my all the tabs. So here I have to give the path. So see, path is given by default of tab 1, tab 2, tab 3, and then I will click on enter and add tab 4 and a comma over here. And here if you get an error, you have to be very particular that you have to add up like this: two dots slash feedback dot module. That is how it takes up the whole reference. So once you import it over here and save it, automatically your page starts running. So what we will see right now, let us see how will it the application look like. So I have my home, I have my painting, I have my location, and then I will have feedback. So when I click on feedback, automatically feedback page appears here. Now let us see how do we add contents into every page. Now what we have done till now, we have added icons, we have changed the names, we have for every of the options, we have added one more page called as feedback, and this page of feedback we have linked it as a tab and then created the routing for it. So once I click on feedback, automatically my feedback also starts working on it. Now let us see how do we add contents to our module. So for adding contents, I will take up my by default one which I've created. So I will open an application where I have worked with the UI part. So let us go page by page. So if I go to my home page, in my home page I have written here hello and welcome to the application. This is home page. Now how does this content came about? So I will go to tab 1. In tab 1 I will go to module.ts. So in tab 1 I will go to tab 1.page.html file. In this HTML file you can see that I've created hello and welcome to the application. This is home page. I have changed the title. Title by default was tab 1 over here. So title I've changed it to home, so that the title over here also gets reflected to home. And then the content over here is written in paragraph. So here in paragraph I have written the content. Now when I go to my SCSS file over here, I have added some of the CSS styling to it. So for paragraph, I have given the color as black and I've given some padding spacing. And then this thing I've called up in my HTML page using class. This is simple. This is simple working with HTML. So this I think is simple enough to understand. So once I do this, this information is visible on my screen over here. Now let's come to paintings. That is my second tab, right? So here when I go to my second tab, tab 2, I will go to HTML page. I've written simple content. So your title is given as tab 2. Similarly, you can see title over here is tab 2. Let me change this title to painting. So I will change this to, so I will change the name here to paintings. So I will change it to paintings. Similarly, I will go to tab 3. In tab 3, the name is given as tab 3. So let us see, do we have tab 3 over here? The title is given over as tab 3. So we'll change this title to location. So I will go back to my file and change this to locations, and I will save it. And the content which is given over here is I've given as Ionic text for location, and color is secondary, and then some content. Similarly, again I've taken Ion text as danger. So when I take the text as secondary and danger, let us see how does it change over here. Now when I take up the Ionic color as secondary, I'm getting a blue color here. When I take it as danger, you will get the color as red. You can see on top the title has been changed to locations. Similarly for feedback, let us see how does the structure looks like. So we'll go to feedback.page.html file over here. Now in this feedback.page.html file, let us see how does these pages are linked with each other. So first I will go to feedback.page.ts file. Now in this, as we have seen, how do we want our structure to look like? So let me show you first how does the application will look like. I will put my name over here. I will select my class over here from SY. I will take it as FY. Do you want notifications? So I've already toggle button that yes, I want notifications over here. Now here I have given some checkboxes. So I will select the checkbox whichever I want. When I click on submit, the name which I've added, it will give me that name and give me a feedback. So it says thanks Sakina for your valuable feedback, which the name I've given over here. So from the label, from the text box, it has to fetch the name and give it to page.ts, and then page.ts will display the message accordingly. So how do we do that? So for doing that, if you see over here, first we came to feedback.page.ts page. We have added toast controller to it. Now adding toast controller is simple. You can go to Ionic website and see the documentation, and you can copy paste it from there itself, the method show toast. So here we are taking the name as username, and this username is actually coming from HTML page. So when I go to my HTML page, you will see clearly that I've created ion label as name, and then I've taken input as text, and I've called it through ng model, and I've given here the username. So the name is fetched from here in username, and this username, the name is actually fetched over here, and then later on I'm displaying that name. So I'm giving a message through toast controller that thanks the username, which will come up from there for your valuable feedback. And this has to be shown to the, it should be displayed on screen for 2 seconds. That is why the time limit is given over here as 2 seconds. Now let us see how what things are there in HTML page. So as we know, first is the text. Second, I've created a drop down. So for drop down, I have given some kind of CSS. Okay, I have not displayed the CSS. All right, I'll just remove.